G'day there guys, got another special guest. It's Possum the Chihuahua. She's kinda old, but she's doing her thing. Good girl. Alright. Welcome back to the Markee YouTube channel. It's your host Markee, and I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're doing. Sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some Am I the A-hole stories. Thank you. Posted by user Papa Loves. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not letting anyone hold my son when he was born? This happened pre-pandemic, but the fight started again about a month and a half ago. My wife gave birth to our son November 2019. That's a pretty cool name. She had a very complicated pregnancy and ended up needing an emergency C-section, which we were aware could happen. We had talked about it for a while, and she admitted hating the thought that she would be the last to hold our son. So when she was born, and she was still unconscious, I did not allow anyone in our families to hold him, or even meet him really. They saw me, but that was about it. She was unconscious for 4 days, but thankfully recovered and was able to meet and hold our son. It was about a day after everyone else got to meet him and hold him for the first time. Our families were upset, but nothing really kicked off except for my mum and sister, who were kinda pushy about it. Then, around January, we had an incident. My wife put up some photos of her holding our son for the first time and talked about how traumatic the birth had been and wanted to raise awareness of how dangerous pregnancy and birth can be, and basically just saying how grateful she was to have them both be okay. My mum and sister then really started acting like kids, saying it wasn't fair, and we robbed them of those first few days with their grandson and nephew. I told them plenty of people meet grandkids and nieces and nephews days or even weeks or months after births, and had this been pandemic times, it would not have happened for a lot longer. But they say I was selfish and should not have done that just because my wife couldn't meet or hold our baby. I am only conflicted on this because someone else suggested I robbed my son of having more interaction early on, and I should have thought of him over my wife's feelings on the whole thing, and while most of me is screaming hell no, I wanted to see what a bunch of internet strangers would think. Am I the a-hole? I don't really follow the logic of you being selfish to deny your son more people who love him in those first few days meeting him. It was literally your wife's wish for that not to happen. How are you an a-hole for agreeing with your wife and protecting that wish? Like you said, this is a completely reasonable thing for people to expect. It is their child, they can do with their child as they want. That is regardless of pre-pandemic or pandemic times. These people are kicking up a fuss for no reason because they're bored and they want some excitement in their lives. So why not find a low-hanging fruit that really isn't low-hanging in the first place? And let's just contort and twist a situation so we can yell at someone together. I love tribalism. Just tribalism at its finest, hey? Because, screw the wife. She was only in a coma for 4 days. It's not like that was important. What's important is we didn't get to meet her baby that, she may not have woken up from that coma. She may have died. But just ignore that fact. We care about the baby here. The baby's the only thing that's important in this situation. I just don't understand the logic. Not the a-hole, OP. You're not the a-hole for not letting them meet your son. These people confuse me so much, I just don't understand. Now in the comments, Jude Roppin says, definitely not the a-hole. Of course your wife should have been the first, besides yourself, to hold your son. Good for you for sticking to your guns. Not the a-hole. This is the best thing you could have done, and a lot more fathers and wives need to do this. As a woman and a mother, I think that would have been one of the very few things not forgivable. I would tell your mum and sister to pound sand and get over it as you did right, and they are mad that you wouldn't just give in to them. Anyone who whines, "It's not fair," needs to be shut down and then ignored. What a bunch of turds. Not the a-hole. Yeah, they can, as I like to say, kick rocks in flip-flops. It's so good. Kick rocks in flip-flops. I love that. Not to mention, they sound like the type of people who would lord it over everyone forever if they had gotten to hold the baby before mom. Oh, we have a special bond because I held him first. Or, oh, he loves his grandma because I was there for him during his first days when mummy was sleeping. Absolutely not the a-hole. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law definitely read as just no types from this alone. They would definitely brag about holding the little one over his wife's head for all eternity. Not the a-hole. What? Your mother and sister need to check themselves. They think they should have the right to hold the baby before his own mother? I highly doubt your son is going to be devastated or that affected by the lack of interaction early on. No. Your wife didn't want to be the last to hold him, and it's your child. You two come first. Mother and father over anyone else really in this situation. I do wonder what their reaction would be if it was phrased like this to them. You think you had the right to hold our child before my wife, his mother? They would probably say the wife was incapable of holding their grandson and nephew anyways, since she was unconscious, which is why they're accusing OP of depriving the child of interaction opportunities. I mean, I'm sure OP took his moments to hold and bond with his own child. Besides, plenty of babies are born, and they have to spend days, weeks, or months in hospitals away from their parents hours at a time. Not the a-hole OP. Take this as a foreshadowing as to how entitled your mother and sister are. Why are people so entitled about other people's babies? If you want to hold one so much, go have your own. Posted by user Dion Nian Cher. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go on a family vacation to Disney and ruining everyone else's plans? So my husband and I live a happy, quiet life in the mountains. No kids, a few pets, lots of friends and adventures to go on. My in-laws are nice people. They got the vacation planning bug and have decided that the big family vacation this fall is going to be going to Disney. I said their plans sound great and I can't wait to see the pictures. Mother-in-law said that we would be joining them. It's a family vacation. Theme parks, especially overly crowded, hot, expensive ones with screaming and crying kids, and a week with his family? Hard pass. My idea of a fun vacation is camping for a week and hiking or backpacking. Quiet solitude in the trees. We said that we aren't interested, but that we're happy they get to go. Mother-in-law argued that we have to go because it's a family vacation. I explained that from my perspective, that's a lot of time to spend with everyone. That's a lot of time to spend with the kids who will be overstimulated, overtired, cranky from travel, etc. And that it doesn't sound like leisure, it sounds like work. Mother-in-law looked shocked and hurt, and said, I didn't realize you looked at your nieces and nephews that way. Husband said that we love them, just in small doses, and that we honestly wouldn't enjoy being around everyone else for the whole time either, and that quite honestly, we're just not theme park people. Mother-in-law looked so disappointed and made a quick excuse to get off the call. We discussed it again after, and were both in firm agreement. A few days later, his brother called and yelled at him for ruining everyone else's vacation. I guess because we aren't going, it'll cost more for everyone, and the parents won't get a break because they can't take a day off and send the kids with auntie and uncle for a few hours. Husband said, oh, so the whole reason you guys wanted us to come in the first place is so you had babysitters? Brother-in-law got super offended by that and made a comment that spending time with your nephews isn't babysitting, and went off on how we don't know how to be a part of a family. We just go off on our own and do our own thing without caring how anyone else is doing. It's caused this big rift, and part of me wonders if we're just supposed to suck it up and endure a week at some overpriced, gaudy theme park just so everyone else in the family gets theirs. Am I the a-hole? Your mother-in-law and company are welcome to be upset about you guys not going to the family vacation all they want. But they cross the line when they try to impose your participation under the guise of it actually benefiting you and your partner. That's just wrong. It obviously doesn't, and they made that clear when you pointed out that you're just portable babysitters to them. They're, what are you talking about? They're also using you guys as a way to split the costs, so it's not as expensive for them. Too bad, so sad if that hurts their feelings. You don't want to pay the absurd rates for Disney that I'm sure we all know are extortionate at the best of times, and I don't blame you. Steer clear of these lunatics, OP. Not the a-hole. Now in the comments, Felicia Fancybottom says, not the a-hole. A Disney vacation is expensive beyond belief, and it's not worth going if you don't like theme parks. Plus, you can't plan a vacation and say that someone has to go. That's ridiculous. You can invite them to come along, but it's rude and crazy to say that you have to go. Also, they were 100% wanting you to go as a babysitter for a day. That's ridiculous of them. And OP replies, the amount of money they quoted sounded insane. Like, we could fly to somewhere in Europe and go backcountry hiking for days and spend time in town for that amount. Update, please stop asking me for the amount. I'm not interested in discussing finances. Well, you should do that. Obviously post-pandemic. Yeah, why use vacation time and money for something that you will hate? The brother-in-law only wanted them to come so they could babysit and supplement the cost of their vacation, which is just horrible. And yes, spending time with your niece and nephew without their parents is babysitting. You can spend time with them in the same room where it is still the parents' responsibility to make sure they don't kill each other, behave, etc. Yeah. Brother-in-law saying it's not babysitting confused me. Like, they're not OP's kids, so yes, it is babysitting. Although I do see some parents refer to it as babysitting when they're watching their own kids, and that irritates me. But that's not the case here, lol. Not the a-hole. Brother-in-law was offended because he got called out on something that was true. They wanted you to subsidize part of the cost and babysit kids. I would be the one offended were I you. Exactly. Even if you love them, taking care of kids that aren't yours is always babysitting, and it's awful to pretend like it isn't. You have to be upfront about expectations. They went in assuming OP wanted to take their kids around Disney, probably for multiple days. I enjoy kids when parents are present to help if needed. I have my own too, and that's really enough for me. I wouldn't toss him off on anyone at a theme park alone, even if I wanted to, which I don't really. It's a lot of work unless they're like 10 plus. OP adds an update in their post saying, Update. I just wanted to redirect some of the child hate going on in the comments. We don't dislike the kids in the family, we spend time with them. We see them every 3 or so months and visit over holidays. The kids are perfectly good kids, but spending more than a day or two with them and the rest of the family is a bit much. It has nothing to do with the kids being brats or anything like that, they're just kids. Update 2, thanks for the perspectives all. We're definitely not going to go on this vacation or to Florida at all. No offense, Floridians, but I'd rather not meet Florida man. We're going to make sure to let everyone know that if they want to see us more often, they're going to have to put in some effort to at least meet us halfway, and come see us instead of us always coming down to see them. And of course, tell mother-in-law we're sorry for the way we put the rejection, but reiterate that we're not interested in a big trip for a week long, and we'll consider popping in a day or two if they do a vacation to somewhere more our speed. Posted by user Throwaway Property 121, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to go home when my fiancé invited guests over without asking me first? So, as the title says, my 25 female, fiancé 28 male, invited a friend over on Sunday to help set up his new gaming PC. The friend brought his wife and 2 young kids with, after I was told only the friend would be there. I have severe social anxiety, but I work over weekends, so I didn't have to see them. Halfway through the day, my fiancé let me know that the whole family was there and that he had offered for them to stay the night. Please keep in mind that we have a small 2-bedroom house, and the second room is set up as an office. I'm a gamer as well, and my PC is set up in the lounge next to the couch, which is where the 4 of them would be sleeping. I was planning on playing that night until the early hours. This is where I might be the a-hole. I work 6 days a week, 12 hours each. This was on the night before my day off, so I was absolutely drained and couldn't stand the thought of having to deal with strangers in my house. I let my fiancé know that I was not okay with this and to retract his offer, and that I would like them to be gone when I get home at around 7 p.m. He started going on about how we will all sit and have drinks and have fun, that I was overreacting, and that he can't help but be nice and make the offer. I was getting more and more anxious that he was putting their feelings into consideration rather than what I feel I need after an extremely long and tough work week. I am upper management at a restaurant, and it was month end and financial year end. I ended up going to his sister's house, who stays in the same complex as us, and stayed there until after they left at around 9 p.m, after my fiancé asked them to leave. When I got home, I found that the kids had messed sweets and cool drinks all over the carpets, had stuck a ruler into a floor fan, and all around just be extremely messy. I was extremely annoyed that my night off was ruined, as I was planning on having a few drinks to wind down and play games. My fiancé and I ended up having a fight, where I kept asking how I didn't have a say over who can stay the night or visit or not. He just kept saying that I was overreacting. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I feel I might be the a-hole for not showing my face and just staying away from my house. In all honesty, a 60-hour work week with only 1 day off is so much more than the average Joe has to tackle with. I'm inclined to be on your side on this one. I have little understanding of what jobs require that amount of dedication, aside from Elon Musk talking about his average work weeks and how much his staff work sometimes, so I imagine you're really pumping hours into something hard. At that level of exhaustion, anxiety, and burnout by the end of the day, I don't blame you for not showing your face. Yeah, without the context, it's rude to intentionally not show up and entertain guests, and staying away is like telling them, "Whoa, they must not like these people at all, how rude." But in reality, they let these kids run rampant way past what you were comfortable with, like a time of them staying over, and they didn't clean up after them. Add on top of that, your partner is being combative with you and doesn't actually let you make decisions in your own house. That's a yikes situation, and I hope this is just a bump in the long road of your relationship, as you see tiffs and situations like this quite often. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to go not the a-hole with this one. Now in the comments, I'm an Amalgam says, not the a-hole. He clearly wasn't thinking about you or your comfort if he invited 4 extra people to stay in your small apartment at the end of your very long work week. I hope he's planning to clean up all the mess they made. That's not on you either. If he wants to hang out and have drinks, he can do it at their house that's set up to accommodate their number. Exactly. And they would have the kids' toys. Young kids are often on a scheduled bedtime and routine. Staying over without having toys, their beds, etc. would be a hassle, which might be why they went feral in OP's small apartment. Not to mention the pandemic, jeez. Not the a-hole OP. That was my thought too. What parents would want to stay the night in a small apartment on a whim? No toiletries, clothes, or proper beds for themselves or the kids. Maybe they're all starved for social company, but so is the rest of the world at the moment. OP's significant other should have asked OP if she was okay with it before he invited them to stay, not the a-hole. Selfish ones who don't care about their children trashing the place. They should have cleaned up the mess their kids made before they left. Actually, they should have been watching what they were doing all along. I would be mortified if my kid did that, and would be grabbing the minimal cleaning supplies out of my purse and getting it so clean they would think the cleaning lady came. then a swift pickup before we go out the door. But my kid is not neurotypical and stays in one spot with his robot, lol. Not the a-hole. Shame on 1. Your fiancé for not caring about your physical and emotional needs after a long-ass work week. 2. Your fiancé for not caring about the logistical nightmare that you would have to deal with by bringing in and hosting 2 extra adults and toddlers. 3. Your fiancé for not respecting the other legally, financially, and physically responsible adult in the home to ask first. 4. Your fiancé for not thinking about the logistics of hosting 2 toddlers for a full day and overnight. Kids are not pets nor props and have special and specific accommodations to make it safe, comfortable, and entertaining for even a couple of hours, let alone a full day and overnight. 5. On the friends, who thought that it was totally appropriate to bring their kiddos to your home without getting permission from both adults. 6. On the friends, for putting their 2 kids in such a crap situation where they ended up getting so bored they got destructive. And 7. Your fiancé and the friends for letting the kids get destructive and then not cleaning up and fixing what was broken. I would seriously rethink your relations and future with someone who is this thoughtless. Do you want to marry and possibly raise children with someone this self-centered and selfish? I'm with you on everything except expecting the friends to get permission from both adults before coming over. I don't think a guest should have to check behind a partnered person when receiving a social invitation. I'm not policing other people's communication with their partner. That's a bit much. If it's a known issue, like Bob always invites people over without telling Jane, I'm just not going over there. Also, I'm betting the fiancé was probably like, "Don't worry about it, I'll clean that up." Yeah, nope, he didn't. Anyways, the rest of the points are good and OP is still not the a-hole. Info. Is this a common thing? For example, fiancé ignoring your wishes and boundaries and doing things like this that make you uncomfortable. Equally, how close is this friend to your fiancé? I'm assuming pretty close considering the sleepover, so why do you refer to them as strangers? That seems to be an unhealthy dynamic in the relationship. The comments I have seen judge your fiancé for ignoring your feelings, but equally, and depending on the above, why would your feelings always trump your fiancé's? Because of your anxiety? I don't buy that. As presented, this relationship doesn't seem ideal, and I wonder why you're engaged. This is ignoring the pandemic, which both of you seem to have done. And Cillian replies, I dated someone with social anxiety, and they seemed to believe that their anxiety was above my social needs. I couldn't bring anyone to the house, even to hang out in a separate room and just chill, without my ex giving me the cold shoulder for days for having socialized. It's deeply isolating. This was my thought as well. It seemed like he has a right to host people in his home from time to time. With her anxiety and work schedule, when would have been better? Maybe a weird thing that a family of 4 would want to stay over, but that's another thing. Also, I wonder if these people are strangers because she has deemed it unnecessary to meet his friends and have them in their life. They seem like good friends if they're willing to come over and help with a project. And OP updates their post and says, Thank you to everyone who commented. I didn't expect this to blow up. Thank you to the kind words and thank you for the criticism too. A lot of people wanted more info, so here goes. My fiancé regularly invites people over and lets me know at the last minute. Most times it is only one person, and I tell my fiancé that it's fine. He can have friends over, but to please let me know at least a day or 2 in advance. This always gets ignored, which is why I reacted the way I did in this situation. Many times he'll have a friend stay over for a few nights so that they can binge gaming. I'm perfectly fine with this as he has social needs, but please let me know so that I can mentally prepare to have people in my personal space. Regarding my job, just because I'm management in hospitality doesn't affect anything. I deal mainly with the staff and not customers. Millions of people suffer from anxiety, but guess what? We all need to have a job to pay bills. Just because I have anxiety does not mean I crap myself stupid when I'm around people. I am an adult. I need to work in order to survive, and dealing with people on a daily basis is part of that. But when I do not need to be around people, I do not have to be. I'm seeing someone for my mental health. I suffer from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. I am getting treatment, and fortunately, I don't have to see people in my own house if I don't want to. My fiancé's work schedule is very different to mine. 90% of the time he works remotely, Monday to Friday, and is off on weekends. We see each other at night only, and this has affected our relationship greatly, and I've suggested couples therapy sessions which we are still discussing. So all in all, I know that I might have overreacted, but instead of going home and showing that I'm in a crap mood due to piss-poor communication from my fiancé, I simply went somewhere else. Thank you to everyone. Alright guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you need a good laugh, please do check out my second channel, Markee 2, links down in the description below, or it's going to appear somewhere on the screen here at the end, little bubble with my face on it. As always, a big shout out to my Patreon and channel members. Your faces are surrounding me right now, and I love to have you guys with me, and down in the comment sections of each and every video, and just knowing that you're always there to support me. It's a humbling and lovely feeling. And rest assured, I do see you, and I do notice your support, and I thank you every day for being here and helping me along this journey. Not much else to say besides that, guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I do hope that you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I will see you in the next video, and thank you again. Bye.